Would it be valuable for you to know how to make your events unforgettable? Imagine creating events that people can't stop talking about and they can't wait to attend. What would that feel like? I'm talking about the kind of events where your audience feels deeply connected to you and they all walk away inspired and ready to take action. Would you like to be able to create that kind of event? Or let me ask you in another way, how would it impact your business if you were able to create that kind of event? Would that impact your sales figures? Well, stay tuned then because this episode we are showing you exactly how you can make your events unforgettable. You are listening to Momentum Maker Podcast, and I am awesome Angie Engstrom, honoring the awesomeness in you.
And I'm Gitte Odgaard. Are you a coach, a course creator, or an entrepreneur? If you are, chances are you tried feeling the pressure of doing your best to deliver an unforgettable experience at an event. So today we're diving into one simple, often overlooked technique that can transform how you connect with your audience, whether you're hosting a live virtual masterclass, as Angie and I help our clients do, or you're doing another type of event. And as you listen to this episode, please remember that making your events unforgettable starts with understanding the little things that leave a lasting impression on your audience. So let me share an everyday story to show you exactly what I mean by that. The other day, I was at the vet with my dog just getting his nails trimmed. Have you ever been to the vet or perhaps another type of doctor? So, after trimming my dog's nails, the vet asked me a question about my daughter's school because she noticed her in the waiting room. I answered, and before we knew it, we were chatting about really personal stuff, just like, old girlfriends. And for just a single moment, everything else seemed to melt away. And I found myself genuinely enjoying this small, unexpected moment of connection. Have you ever tried starting a conversation like that? It could be with a vet or some kind of doctor like I did, or perhaps someone standing in front of you or behind you in the checkout line at the grocery store. Or perhaps you bonded with another parent while watching your kids play at the playground. Have you ever experienced something like that? Well, my recent experience at the vet made me think about how we sometimes overlook the power of leaving a lasting impression on other people by creating a real connection with them.
So true, because when we create a real connection with somebody, it's not just about what's said, it's also about eye contact because it adds so much depth to the interaction. Sure, the words are really important, but it's that shared moment of feeling seen that leaves the biggest impact, just creating a real connection. And the same is true when it comes to your events. The people that are attending, they just want to feel seen. Whether you're hosting a master class or any other type of event, eye contact, yes, even through a camera lens, can make or break the connection with your audience. It's one of the most powerful tools that you have in your toolkit to make your events unforgettable. It's not, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm not making proper eye contact with the audience will make or break the success of your speaking events. So eye contact is really, really, really important. Did you guys get that? This is important stuff. It means that if you're doing it wrong, you might not even be connecting with your audience. So today we're diving into how can you use eye contact techniques to create connection with your audience and leave a lasting impression. Because creating connection is all about being present and making the other person feel seen.
So true, Angie. Creating connection, it is so important, especially if you are some kind of business owner. So let's dive into our 3 tips for creating eye contact. Our first tip is to always look at the camera because eye contact is one of the most powerful ways to establish trust, to establish connection and engagement with your audience. Did you know that our brains are wired to respond to eye contact? It's amazing, right? It's actually how we connect and form emotion connection with other people. It's through eye contact. So If your eyes are, darting around the screen, or you're looking at your slides, or you're reading your notes, your audience might feel a disconnect, even if your contact is totally awesome. And don't be fooled, because even though your audience isn't in the room with you when you're doing a virtual event, they are still watching you so intently. So you need to make sure that you're looking straight into the camera lens. Why? Because that is how you ensure that you're creating a personal connection with each and every person in your virtual room. So, by looking directly into the camera lens, you're simulating eye contact with every single person watching. Mind blowing, right? I mean, it's whether it's just one person or it could be 1,000 persons, but they will all feel as if you're speaking directly to them. If you succeed in creating this eye contact. And that sense of personal connection, it builds trust and it creates a lot more impact. A pro tip for making this easier is to imagine the camera as your best friend. And then you just go ahead and speak directly to that person, to your best friend. Or you could place a photo of someone you care about or someone you admire right next to a camera lens as a reminder for you to focus your energy there.
And it's interesting, especially on a virtual event, how there's the camera lens, but then there's also the people on the screen if you're looking at the gallery view. And
Mm,
there is a difference. And when you're on virtually, just that little nuance of even just a few inches looking either
mm.
at the people on the screen versus at the camera, it's something to practice. It's that's a skill. And you just need to make sure that you're creating connection with your audience. Remember, by looking at the camera, you're also positioning yourself as being confident and in control. So, our first tip to creating eye contact is to look directly at the camera, not necessarily the people in the gallery. Um, so you got to practice that. That's definitely something to practice. Our second tip is to create micro moments of connection. At a virtual event, a micro moment of connection can happen when you pause for emphasis after making a point, and then you look directly into the camera and just let your words resonate with the audience. This gives your audience a chance to process your message. And remember, it's all about being fully present and focused, even if you can't physically see the people on the other side of the screen, because when your audience feels seen, they're far more likely to engage, trust, and take action. You just need to work on creating that connection.
Yes, create that connection. So let's sum up our first two tips for creating eye contact. Number one is to look directly at the camera, and number two is to create micro moments of connection. And our last tip is to create the illusion of individual connection. Because when speaking to a virtual audience, it's sort of really easy to feel like you're almost talking to a void, right? But here's the secret: you don't have to speak to everyone in your virtual room at once. Instead, you can just imagine that you're speaking directly to just one person. So go ahead and picture a friendly face on the other side of the screen. It could be a client, a friend, or it could even be yourself. And this mental shift will naturally, it will soften your tone, it will make your expressions a lot more engaging. And because you are directing your focus toward an imagined individual, your audience will feel as though you're speaking directly to them.
And a pro tip, if you want to take this a step further, is to consider naming this imaginary person. For example, you might imagine, okay, I'm talking to Sarah, who truly wants to grow her business, but she's worried it's going to involve working too many hours, causing her to neglect her family and missing out on so many important moments. Like this is you know, like you're directing a play and like you're reading the character bio. You just put that image in your brain. And by creating this illusion of individual connection, you can make every listener feel like they're having a personal conversation with you, even in a crowded virtual room. And remember, you don't need to reach everyone at once, just connect with one person, and the ripple effect does the rest. And so there you have it. Our three power tips for creating eye contact. Look directly at the camera, create micro moments of connection, and create the illusion of individual connection.
And remember, no matter where you're speaking, Being mindful of your eye contact can make all the difference in how your audience feels about you and the message you're delivering. So, as you prepare for your next event, we want you to remember to create a true connection with your audience because that's where the magic happens. Just create that connection.
Create the connection. So, thank you for listening to Momentum Maker Podcast. Keep your momentum, keep moving forward. And if you happen to be a coach, a course creator, or an entrepreneur spending too much time selling one on one, and you're ready to condense time and sell one to many, then open up a tab on your browser and type in elitevirtualstages.com/blueprint and learn how you can turn your expertise into listen to this, a 6 or even 7-figure day using live transformational virtual masterclasses.